Hi, my friends and family. I hope the day is treating you well. I bring you my blessings. It's perfectly lovely underneath the beginning sprays of the planned nanotech rain for tomorrow. But today, I'm going to talk about bootstrapping versus working your intuition and learning to balance the two. I grew up in the deep south where I was taught to pull myself up by the bootstraps. Keep working, going, working. I'm about to fit down. 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm already up and learning how. By 6 o'clock in the evening, I'm still discerning. Wow, I keep on working, going. Working on and going. Bootstrapping versus working intuition. Started reading Carlos Castaneda books when I was 16 years old, and I think one of the things I thought is I was going to relearn. I intuitively thought that, I'm going to relearn my divine magic powers. Learning to balance the two. We were, most of us, born into this planetary environment of collectively enforced slavery, or wage slavery, box control, indentured servitude, and the use of fear, coercion, and threats to force you to take care of yours and yourself. If you're willing to comply or not question it, obey the program, to work as a box slave just to exist, for example, if you live in this county. In California, since the conquistadores came and slaughtered all those who wouldn't convert to their inverted Catholicism, this is how it's been. Forced indentured servitude. This is, of course, subsequently enhanced, subsequently encouraged and primed the growth of what I call the California Tea-Gow culture and ideas, the grapes of wrath. Basically, like your badge of merit, your meritocracy, your virtue signal is how much of a slave you are for your box, your family. It means you're good. Tea-Gow, TGOW, or Tea-Gow cultures and ideas are based on the supposed virtues of financial slavery. Plus, if you add 230 or so years later, people are still seemingly going gung-ho about it. Working their asses off. I live in this cold water paradise, and I work my ass off for it. And, it's one thing if they run or they're the CEO of an organic company that serves others, but, doing something they don't even like, just not to die, to pay the rent. The idea that all that is needed in a situation is lots of endless physical slavery or hard work or physical labor is what's called bootstrapping, strap your boots up and get to work. And I used to believe this as a young man. I worked every trade except for electrical when I was a young person. In the hard-working California Virgo, Scorpio Sagittarius gouge pageant wage slave contest, this could lead to forced compliance with the inverted rules, mandates. This is why 80% of these people took the shot, 100% of this college here, because they felt like it was a good thing. They were, again, coerced into believing. fake informed consent that it was going to help everyone. So this wage slave contest could lead to forced compliance with the inverted rules, mandates, and acceptance of industrial style harm and mostly existence as a human rat in a treadmill on a cage. Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage. And oh yeah, the killer in me is the killer in you. Corgan had a few lyrics that hit the nerve. Thus, coastal California literally exemplifies the sad, matrix, soul-sucking, life-taking, siphoning system. And so you'd hope that some of these people were intelligent enough to, if they have to work 3 jobs 7 days a week, to choose jobs that they respect and love that help others. Then we have, on this level, we have, on this tip, we have those willing to die or work to death to achieve their organic company or respectful business dreams. You know, they came out here to California, to this cold water paradise, to live out their dreams, and they're going to be their own slave because the devil, the Lucifer's people, have made their property tax so high they're forced to. These types usually start with great intentions but are encouraged to become narcissistic just to basically financially survive. It doesn't mean they're bad people. It means that the financiers are evil. They don't have any compassion or love, and they've convinced most of these people to just, if they're going to live out their organic dream, they've got to let go of being nice and kind. As a youth, I subscribed to the bootstrapping philosophy. I'd work only remedial or physical construction or cleaning jobs. The harder the work, you know, even digging ditches at Labor Ready, the more of a proud bootstrapper I was that day. I got paid to suffer and sweat and be a good slave. If this idea was the entire story, you know, there'd be millions of enlightened beings, millions of enlightened people right here in California, living their dreams here in California alone. If that was all that mattered, is that you're willing to work your ass off and slave for your box, for your survival, or taxes, or your gas. Sadly, the vast majority of bootstrappers forgot their original dreams or blueprints and get overwhelmed and stuck in fucking survival or beast mode. And the question always, of course, is always, who or what are you feeding with this thought or action? Can you survive in California and live out your dreams without feeding the demons, or does it have to imply you being a narcissistic punk? The truth about ADD, or so-called attention deficit disorder, studies found that when they put the children who supposedly had this disease in studies of things they were passionate with, they would have full attention. So it's a misnomer. Passion is the key, because you're not going to figure it out without the passion. Another large but much smaller group here believe they can live on intuition, like a skilled gambler. You know, I'd say the energetic remnants of some of the communitarians from the days of Lemuria and the socialists that try to live off the fat of the land out of their social slickness, for example, on the dark side. But on the positive side, or the lighter side, or the respectful side, rather, shamans, you know, if they're good, they have basically a superior internal GPS system that works far greater than your little GPS in your car, in their intuition. And you know, they found brain cells, operational neurons in the heart, human heart, and the human gut, if it's healthy. And this is why often through my bowel movements, or after my bowel movements, even my creativity blossoms. It's funny, and that's a whole nother video. But choosing the exact right moments to act, ask, conjure, or manifest through their intuition. People that try to live on their instincts, like skilled gamblers and shamans or pseudo shamans. It can work sometimes, but yet this often fails, not just due to lack of manifestation skills, but because of their solipsism or hubris or narcissism, and still having competitive narcissistic notions of self. For example, subconsciously competing with you. And so this always happens if we still have existential fears, of course. Also, many fail to look at the thoughts in their mental hologram that act as obstacles to creating their dream. Of course, as I've said many times, this goes to myself too, without doing the shadow work, your dreams turn into nightmares. We have 3 brains in our human body. It's recently science has discovered operational. Having the 3 brains operational, your intuition does actual work. And another example of passive work, for example, is the sun. The sunlight can burn off all my topical illnesses and get rid of them, at least temporarily or for a while. The sun has that power. It does the work. If you know how to use the sun intuitively, as far as the time frame or duration, you can use it to destroy your illness. But you have to use your intuition. Without a care for how it affects others, the plans are meaningless in the greater picture if you don't have harmlessness and respect to the other people involved. Thus, God helps those that help themselves, help others realize more divinity harmlessly. A mouthful, sure, but spiritual fulfillment comes from the exact opposite of the Helite narcissist mandates and bootstrapping you for their work. Hard work. What's the relationship between hard work, mind control, stubbornness, and laziness? Question mark. How about a comment if you got an idea? Your feelings on that. In the world's financial matrix, it is very easy to see it is nearly entirely off balance. And you always have to ask yourself, what is the intention between this action of yourself or anyone or the system? It is entirely off balance, whereby some folks totally bootstrap and work their asses off and sweat for every penny and take care of their friends and family, sweat for every penny for their entire lives, and others, such as the 1% Helites and the disabled and other vampiric individuals and groups, basically appear to do nothing and take everything they have, energetically being energetic vampires from these people who work their ass off. Can you see how both camps are codependent and miserable? Covert narcissists, the wealthy being psychologically, morally, and mentally and emotionally destroyed from within through their guilt, probably most of the time, because they're just stealing your energy, while the poor die of soul suppression as slaves. They don't get to live out their soul's needs. An example of bootstrapping is in the Matrix life is the worthlessness of my YouTube viewership. It's a rigged game. Perfect example, but I don't do this work to get viewers. It is true I would have, if I did, it would be an example of a worthless slave game. It is true I would have nothing without discipline. I became a one-man band, and I figured all that out with discipline. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Of course, you can learn from everyone, and it's important to work hard. And being stubbornly lazy, or a Sisyphus who calls himself a hard worker, always results in nada or nothing. Folks often refuse to agree on terms just because they don't agree with you, the way you think about something. In an advanced culture, is bootstrapping just for slavery to others or yourself? Eventually, we all have to return to the ancient yet buried truth of the necessity of balance of effort in work, play, payment, rest, sleep, and reproduction without the vampire matrix control. We're in the 11th hour. They use dew weapons on Lahaina. Maybe you can use a psychic dew weapon to get rid of your slavery and narcissistic holograms. Alex, became a psychedelic artist on the street because he said, I don't want to work at Subway. He said, I use my talent and my luck. If you enjoyed this, subscribe and follow me, and let's create a greater world. Love you.